Welcome. The collective is here for your information, the knowledge, and love. What we ask of you is to sit and listen. Listen to the vibration, the frequency. It is this frequency that you seek. It is where the information is brought to you. So allow yourselves to be immersed in this frequency, this vibration. For as you progress through this calendar year, this cycle of time, this portion of existence, many are feeling a change. Many are feeling this aspect of themselves changing. There aren't outside influences that are making this change. So do not seek at a distance. Do not equate it to what you perceive is taking place around your planet. This is an internal change. This is your own change. Each individual, it is going to look different, but it is understanding this change. Some would say this is an awakening, but it isn't a full awakening. This isn't to awaken you to anything, but it is to begin to recognize this aspect of self, this internal aspect of self, this divine internal aspect of self. So you are feeling a bit off. You are feeling a bit challenged. You are feeling a bit more tired. You are being guided. You are seeking. This is the internal change. This is your divine. This is your soul, if it were, reaching through, reaching out. But for why now? Why is it now that this is taking place? For as it has been brought to you before about the understanding of this unified field of consciousness, for everyone upon the planet is being called. Everyone is being called. It is to understand that this call has been placed, this energetic call has been placed for some time now. Many of you have received that call, many of you have acted upon that call, and many of you are adjusting your frequency appropriately. But for those that are stepping into this change, understanding what is going on, beginning to question, this is you receiving this call. See, there's nothing the physicality has to do to receive this call. It is your divine. It is a specific frequency signature that you receive that awakens this vibration in you and begins to change all aspects of yourself. But here's the challenge. How do you understand it? How do you accept it? What do you do with it? Do you just allow it to be and just become part of you? Do you act upon it and change who you are? Do you ignore it? For those are all appropriate answers. Those are all appropriate approaches to this call, for you have free will as a human. But what you'll find, the more you ignore this change, whether it's just a slight frequency change, your body vibrates just a bit differently and you ignore it. You begin to perceive things a bit differently and you ignore it. It will grow stronger and stronger. You can ignore it. It will be challenging to ignore it, but you can ignore it. But it is coming into balance with it. It is allowing yourself to align to this change and balance within it. See, this is the beauty of understanding the divine aspect of self that each human has. It doesn't forcibly project itself in your life. You are here to be human. You are here to live in this human existence. All the while, the divine sits within, trying to guide, trying to provide you guidance and answers and awareness. The human can be stubborn. But it is understanding once this change takes place, this evolution, this emergence, it goes by many names. Once you accept it and you allow it to be, you've opened a door for the divine to be present in all things that you do. It won't take control of it, but it'll be present in all things. What does that feel like? You understand a challenge that is in front of you. It's navigated a bit easier. You have a decision to make. It's understood a bit more clear. Relationships take a different turn. Those that are not in the same vibrational space will be dialed back. You won't even realize. Others will be dialed up. They'll be introduced to you. This is the universal force, the universal understanding, universal law that is working with you, not against you. So allow yourself this gentle expression of this change to take hold. You are receiving a call. This is what it feels like to receive this call. Many have already received it. They understand it. Allow yourself to gently receive this call, and if you so choose, surrender to it and allow it to become who you are. For that is what humanity is requiring. Do not be distracted by what you see in your humanness. This has been brought to you a number of times. But understand this unified field of consciousness that you are connecting to. It is a quantum field of understanding. And each of you, all of humanity has been beginning to receive those calls. And each of you, allow it to naturally blend and become who you are.
Beautiful. Thank you for that, and thank you for your presence. Julie T. wonders if a hysterectomy affects our soul energy in some way.
From a soul presence of energy, it does not have an effect that you are perceiving it to have. It does have it shall be said, a marker. What does that mean? You understand how your past experiences, your past lives affect your physical life. You understand what you do in this life is then carried on through your DNA, through your energetic understandings, that of your past life, because this will eventually be a past life, into a future life. So it is to understand, if you so choose to understand it as an energetic marker, to have a lesson, to understand the lesson, to gain from it this lesson in this life, energetically, when you move into the next life, it will be already learned. You won't have to go through the process once again. It is as if it is this life, and yet you are struggling with something that is tied to a past. You have to do the work to clear it from the past so it no longer affects you here. But more importantly, it is understanding this aspect of surgical procedures. That has a greater effect on your energetic whole in this lifetime. So it is setting the stage for an appropriate surgical procedure. It is clearing and amplifying the appropriate energies prior to, during, and post. So there are two factors at play. Yes, from a soul perspective, a divine perspective, an energetic perspective, yes, it can leave a signature that must be dealt with in a later time, or you deal with it here in this lifetime, understanding all aspects energetically that is creating that signature of why must you go through this procedure? What lesson is it that I am going to learn from this procedure? What is it in my best experience, my energetic divine self, that is going to learn from it? When you understand that here, then it is just a remembrance in the future. But more importantly, it is the energetic body itself as a whole, the human body as a whole, and how it will remember energetically any surgical procedure, any medical procedure, any injury, any trauma, and is working through the processes pre, during, and post to clear that from the field.
Excellent, thank you for that. Jessica Ann states that 2 nights last month, she woke up exactly at 10:34 p.m. The first time it happened, she fell back asleep and dreamt that her clock was stuck on that time. Is there any significance with that time or that number for her?
For there are a number of avenues you can allow yourself to travel down. You can take the cumulative of the number, and that would be an 8 number. But it is understanding this repetition, this, more importantly, this holding of time. You've been experiencing moments of time where they seem to have expanded. A singular point in time seems to last a bit longer. A minute turns into 5. It is beginning to go back in the most recent months to understand where those moments have taken place, for they have. Once you begin to recognize the pattern, what you'll begin to see, there are moments in those extended periods of time that you are, shall we say, present physically, but your energetic, your divine, has stepped aside for just a moment into the quantum field to retrieve a bit of information, bringing it back immediately. But in that period of time, it seems as if that 1 minute period has extended. You look at the clock over and over again, and it is at the same time. Or it feels as if 1 minute has turned into 5, or an hour. So it is beginning first to recognize those moments in the past, and understanding those moments of what you were doing at that moment. Understanding how you are triggering these moments of time that extend, so that your physical can, in essence, be quieted, put on pause for just a moment while your divine self retrieves some information from the quantum field. You are an explorer. You have to understand this about yourself. And so now, because of the understanding of time that is coming to witness in your physical state, not only yours, but many of the humans, It is understanding how you can slip time in order to immediately retrieve information from that of the quantum field, so that you are bringing it back immediately and utilizing it. So allow yourself to recognize this pattern and begin to understand it for yourself as a useful tool. Understanding that that information has already been imparted into you. Now it is retrieving that information that you have brought back from the quantum field.
Awesome, thank you for that. So John wonders what the relationship is between bees and hummingbirds when they seem to compete for some of the same flowers and nectar. How do they view each other?
It is not unlike a human and a human interaction with another animal. Say if it is out in the wilderness, both of you are competing for a particular watering hole, a particular place to sleep. But it is understanding that you understand your limitations. Whatever wild animal it may be understands their limitations, and they understand their strengths. You understand how vulnerable you are, they understand how vulnerable they are, but they also understand the paradigm in which both exist. Here too, the hummingbird and the bee, the hummingbird and the wasp. The hummingbird and any other nectar-gathering insect understand exactly the space in which they inhabit. And yes, it may seem as if both that come together, they do entangle themselves at times with a bit of a power struggle. The hummingbird being much bigger, but yet the bee being more aggressive. It is understanding this is the self-awareness of preservation within one's physical aspect. This is all to understand one's physical presence. But from this energetic understanding of each other, just as you have an energetic understanding of the animals in the wilderness, and you may communicate with them, you understand them, here too they communicate with one another. Even though physically they may be in close contact with one another, and there is a bit of aggressive actions, they are communicating energetically to each other to be at the same place and agree to be at the same place, but allowing the physicality to prevail. It is a bit of a struggle, yes, but it is not unlike you being in the wilderness and speaking to the wild animals that you do not see, that you are going to be in their home, in their backyard, and you are going to be competing for some of the same things to survive. If you allow yourself energetically to make that communication, there will be a balance that takes place. You may have a bit of struggle when you see another wild animal in the area, but you understand distance. Here, insect, bird, 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 insect, insect, they all understand they have to compete for a small amount of food, but yet energetically, they understand that each have a particular role. There is no higher divine communication that is going on, that one has more power than another, or one is more wise than another. But it is a delicate balance of space, resources, and understanding of self.
Wonderful, thank you for that. Ed V has determined from the symbolism in his dreams that he has the latent ability to channel. What type or method of channel is he? And he wants to pursue it further. Do you have suggestions?
For it is this process of channeling that is opening. It is going to be from the beginning point of scribing this information. This is going to be the easiest projection of what is coming through. It is allowing the pen to be placed upon the paper and allowing it to wander the page until the flow begins. This is the priming action. This is what is required to get the channel open, synchronized with the physicality, so that the fingers and the pen begin to, in unison, bring through the information. This is only the starting point. There will be a point at which you'll continue to scribe the information, but there will be translations of what is put on the paper. At first, much may not be deciphered in your own language. It will be, to you, just lines and scribbles. But those lines and scribbles are your energetic imprinting of the message, which will need to be translated. That's where the secondary channeling aspect comes in. So you are going to balance between the verbal and the written. Written will be the primary, verbal will be the secondary.
Awesome, thank you for that. Lauren W. wonders if she has a guide who works with her with regard to career, and if so, who is that and what do they want to tell her about her current job, please?
This particular guide allow the expression of the name, which the translation of this particular guide's name would be of Raphael, but this is not the archangel. You have to decipher that first. It is understanding the name is translated to Raphael because it does not translate appropriately straight through in that particular language. This is a ninth dimension being from the Arcturus system. So allow Raphael to settle with you at first. What he is going to begin to show you, career-wise, is understanding the expansion that is in the career field, in the career aspect. There isn't an understanding that in one moment you have a career, in the next moment you have a different career, in the next moment another projection of self into another career. It is understanding how there is expansion, not only with self, but with the career path that is current. For the career path that is current is a stabilized career path, allowing you to expand in other directions. So you are layered, you have the career, but you also have your expansion. You are expanding so that you can achieve a new aspect of career. Raphael will begin to guide you in this and understanding how to layer yourself appropriately. This is an energetic and physical layering that is necessary so that you can allow yourself to be comforted in what you are currently doing without the stress, so that you can energetically expand into a new career field. But first, you must understand this layering aspect. It is as if you were separating into two at the moment.
Excellent, thank you for that. Kathy L. wonders, is there a specific spiritual training or direction that she should pursue at this time?
For it is understanding the guides that sit with you and what they have shown you thus far. It is opening the library of the Akash. It is opening up the multiple volumes to the Akash. So this is a particular placement, if it were, to begin to explore. Now, understand, this isn't going to be a typical understanding of how to enter into the Akash or anyone else's. This is a deeper exploration. And in time, you will begin to guide others into this exploration as well. So it is a field of understanding that through your guides, they will begin to open the doorways to this library of infinite knowledge and allowing you to understand the depth to it and how to retrieve all that is necessary. And you will begin to formulate your own understanding of how this process is to take place so that others can experience it as well.
Awesome, thank you for that. So Ra is typically referred to as a six-dimensional social memory complex, meaning it's not just one energy being, but a group. How is that different from other collectives, such as the collective who speaks now?
For it is understanding that whether it is Ra, whether it is this collective, whether it is any other higher dimensional association of beings, whether that being galactic, terrestrial, you have to understand it is by a framework that they are known. And yes, this complex of Ra, this is a human construct. You have to understand if you are not in your human experience, if you are outside of your human experience, but yet in a density of a physicality of another being in a much higher dimensional plane, then there would be no construct of Ra. It would be a select group of beings that you could gain knowledge from at any particular point. Even with the collective, known of Raphael, Michael, Source, Enoch. Enoch being human, bringing forth the earthbound human knowledge, but the rest, a construct of angels and guides. Source, that being a construct of your existence. You have to understand, when you are in the human plane, when you are in the human density, all is projected through a construct, a framework, so that the human mind has something to grasp to have an understanding of what you are bringing forth. So there is no difference energetically between the collective present and Ra or any other group of beings that are associated as a particular collective. They are all equal outside of the human construct, outside of the human density. For as you progress through your, shall it be said, your ascension, As you ascend higher and higher, you'll begin to understand this aspect of losing the density of the human form and associating with all aspects of energetic beings. Here you have to place a label, a name, an image, a symbol upon it. That is for the human mind to lock into, to associate it so that it is equalized with what you are experiencing. So allowing yourself to step outside of this construct, freeing your thought processes from this construct, and you'll begin to see how easy it is to connect with any collective you wish. You can assemble them by any means that you wish. You can bring forth any collective you wish. But you must break the barriers down of a physical construct that holds them, binds them to a construct of your own thought process.
Thank you. And then who does comprise the construct of Ra? Was that a group of a community that transitioned together?
For the construct of Ra, this collective, this is an association of, understand it this way, there is it is a fluid construct of beings. It holds a certain density for a period of time and shifts. So at the beginning, there were a number of ascended masters from the human plane, those that have ascended into their divine placement, bringing forth a wide spectrum of knowledge across all aspects of time of your human existence. Then in time it shifted to integrate with galactic beings, angelic beings, many others that you are not aware of. You have to understand this plane once you rise into that 10th dimensional plane, 10th, 11th, 12th, all becomes non-existent but existent at the same time. Form has depleted itself. It is an energetic state. So there is no construct at that point. So in time, this construct of Ra for humanity, as you ascend, will shift into a construct of pure light beings. And it will be of the broadest spectrum of knowledge that will be ascertained at that point. For now, yes, they are higher dimensional beings, and there are 11th and 12th dimensional beings in that of Ra, but that information, once it is brought through, much of it is not understood by the human complex. It is not understood by the human thought process because it is not of the vibrational state that can be ascertained by the human form. Information is brought through, but it does not settle with the physical being.
So then, is it accurate to say they are sixth dimensional, or does that depend on the channel bringing them through?
For this depends on the group of channel that does bring them through. It can be anywhere in between the 6th through the 12th. This collective that is current ranges from 6th to the 8th dimensional plane. But you have to understand the construct, that is the most dense information that you are receiving, but it is also being imparted through the 12th dimension. There are 12th dimensional beings that, if you wish to look at it, they are a bit of an overseer to the collective that is present.
So the raw law of one material is considered one of the most significant channeled works of our time. And to me, then, that means that the channel, the human that brought that through, was able to bring that highest level of information.
This is correct. Just as this individual has sat to bring through higher dimensional information for many different understandings, it is of the deepest placement of the physical body, allowing the consciousness to completely step aside, to open the pathway for the highest dimensional knowledge to flow.
Fantastic, thank you for that. So Mona T wonders what she needs to know about her sciatica, lower back pain, and hip pain. Is there a lesson there for her?
It's beginning to learn a different language. Not a language of the spoken, but the language of your own body. For it has been speaking to you quite prominently, but it is understanding and deciphering exactly what it is needing. There is a bit of inflexibility in your movement, yes, that is in relationship to this inflexible aspect of self that is at a bit of a crossroads. So it is manifesting in the lower back, in the sciatic. It is understanding and learning to speak the body language. It is beginning to understand what it needs physically, what minerals it needs, what foods need to be shifted, what vitamins need to be introduced, and what movement is necessary in your energetic to begin to repair the flexibility in the physicality. So it is understanding there is a bit of complexity with this understanding. The more severe it is in the physicality of where you are needing to be moving. What are you to be doing? Where are you to be shifting? What thought processes need to change? Where is it in your existence that needs to be, in essence, torn apart and put back together? For any physical aspect of the human body, it requires a bit of pulling apart so that it can repair back together much more efficiently. Here too, in the energetic, there needs to be at times a bit of a tearing apart to understand that that is associated with any physicality, and then it begins to bind itself back together as it should be. But this is the language of the body that needs to be understood, and it begins by listening much more closely. It will begin to tell you what foods you need to shift to. It will begin to tell you, you begin to see repetitive aspects of different supplements, different minerals, different foods, different practitioners, to understand what is needed at the moment to make the repair. Once the repair energetically is complete, then what is left will be just a small amount of physicality that then can be worked through conventional means.
Very helpful, thank you for that. Linda D wonders what her spiritual gifts are and how she can activate them, please.
This understanding of spirit that is all around you. This understanding of how to communicate with it, how to bring it forward for yourself and others. It is understanding how this communication will allow you to see a bit further into your future. For you understand the psychic aspect of yourself, this is an easy aspect. But it is this layer of communication with spirit, and this isn't just those that have transitioned. This is spirit as a whole. Spirit guides. This is you communicating with and communicating for. It is for you to understand that they have been speaking to you for some time to get you to speak for them. But it is trusting self to do that. So in doing so, as you begin this practice, as you begin to gently ease yourself into this, your horizon becomes a bit more clear. You see a bit further in the future. This is where strengthening that psychic aspect begins to take hold. This will help you, propel you a bit further into the future, because you get to see what is about to take place. This has been happening all of your life. It is just that it has not been as clear as it will be. It is recognizing all of this has been with you for the entirety of this life. It is just taking the next step to step into it and trust it. Surrender to it, if you will, and allow it to become who you are, the natural aspect of self.
Awesome, thank you for that. Elaine wonders if a part of her grandmother's consciousness is somehow sharing the body of her granddaughter ever. And if so, why is that? Is that something that happens frequently in her ancestral lineage?
Well, for her, consciousness is not intertwined with the granddaughter, but it is quite synchronized. Understand it this way. The family, this aspect of the family, is one of a guardian aspect of family. For when a new child is brought into the family, it is, in essence, assigned to a ancestor. And once it is assigned, that ancestor is the closest vibrational aspect to that child. And so this is why, yes, for those that are sensitive, will sense that it is as if it is the same consciousness blended together. It is not. It is a guardian. It is very close. But it is more than a guardian. It is this aspect of teaching. As the child grows and matures, that ancestor, grandmother, grandfather, any aspect of family lineage that has transitioned, they are assigned to the children that are coming into the family that is. And it is to be with them for the remainder of their life. For you too have this with you. For all that have been in this lineage have been assigned an ancestor. This ancestor is the strongest point of communication to all that is of the spirit realm around you. Once you recognize that of self, once you understand that of self, then that is your bridge, that is your connection point. This is what you have pre-assigned through this entire lineage. So yes, this grandchild has been assigned a grandmother that will be with her for the entirety of this life. Already is communicating with her. They are already communicating with each other. They are already understanding the complexities. So it is furthering that understanding, and it is opening that of yourself.
Lovely, thank you for that. Kathy C. wonders, what does she need to know about the multiple lengthy time spans throughout her life that she has no memory of? Was she a walk-in?
For these periods of time, these lapses of time throughout one's existence, it isn't to understand that you are a walk-in. For if you were to be a walk-in, this would be a moment in time that there would be a direct shift, a direct change, and existence would continue. But it is understanding that lapses of time, you have to understand this is to be understood by many, because this is taking place with many. Many experience extended periods of time where they do not associate with that period of time. It feels as if they have separated themselves from existence. For yours, there are periods of time through this life period that at that particular moment, that extended period of time, you allowed your human body to autonomously take care of itself. You put it on automatic, if it were, because you had to go back into your past to heal a number of traumatic situations. Each pause is a traumatic situation that is in place in this lifetime. It is to go back to those moments to understand and recognize. These were moments where in your life there was not as traumatic as it was in the past, but it was a moment at which it was traumatic enough that you knew you had to go heal that from the past. See, this is where you have to understand your path, what you have left open. For many, leave a doorway open to the past to understand and learn. But you came into this life understanding that you were here to heal it, heal those past moments, and you knew exactly when they were, but you didn't know how they would be triggered. This is the triggering point. You sense something in the physicality that is going to be a bit traumatic, a situation, a decision, a relationship, and at that moment, you allow the body to continue automatically while you journey back to heal that past and then clear that portion forward. As soon as you clear it here, it's cleared here, you step back in, and everything is as it was, other than in your memory, there was a lapse of time because of your consciousness not being fully associated with your physicality. This is the agreement you have made with this physicality. This is the agreement and the contract that you've made with this physicality. But what do you do with all of this understanding? It's understanding how you have already understood how to heal the past. It is beginning to remember how you did this. It is beginning to remember how and why, what triggered, and begin to write that information down. Scribe that upon paper, because this is your healing path. This is how you will allow others to heal their path. This is how you will begin to facilitate others' journey to the past to heal those moments. You have a beautiful understanding of how to do it, but now it's beginning to remember exactly what you did.
Wow, very good, thank you. What do we need to know about this upcoming summer solstice, please?
For as with any solar activity, solstice, there is going to be an amplification of energy. You understand this. This is the natural process. But it is to begin to understand what this amplification is going to provide to humanity. This particular amplification of energy, in conjunction with Mother Earth herself, you'll begin to see arise in the resonant field of Mother Earth. This is going to be a clearing and purging energy that is to open. It has been spoken about change. This is going to purge all that is not required any longer, to open those pathways, those gifts, those understandings of self that have laid dormant for so long. So many of you are going to experience a complete shift, a complete turn of your existence. One would say it's disruptive, but it is not. This is coming into an awareness of your own abilities quite quickly. And for those that are aware of their abilities, they're going to be amplified moving forward. You have to understand, and as it has been mentioned, these are all preparatory actions for this ascension point. It is preparing the body for the greatest resonance field. This is just another step in clearing and amplifying so that you are fully aware of those gifts that you already have present within you.
Wow, and now that we've come full circle, before we close, are there any final remarks?
For as these changes do settle in, do not allow them to be disruptive. But how do you do that? It's acknowledging. It's understanding when you begin to feel that shift, that change, that vibration changing in you. Do not slide into fear. Do not worry about the aches and the pains and the discomfort. But allow yourself to be blessed by it. Embracing yourself and saying thank you to yourself that you are here to experience it. Saying thank you to allowing yourself to see this in yourself. This is just another moment in your path. Giving yourself the gratitude and love that it desires in these moments. This only strengthens that experience. It strengthens that ability. It opens that horizon further. So as this next cycle of time takes place, there are going to be energies that are shifting. Embrace them. Do not run from them. Allow them to be merged with yours. For you are an energetic being in a physical body. The energetic being requires these energies. Embrace them and allow them to become you as a divine being.
Outstanding. Thank you so very much for your presence this evening.
And as always, the collective is here for your information, knowledge, and love.